So my theory offers explanations for why are humans acting the way they do. And these other theories of everything, well, they're not theories of people, they're theories of things. And we're more than just rocks, aren't we? We're not just things. So I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with their physical theories, even if we found infinite free energy. How would that lessen our suffering? Because everything's empty anyway. So just having free empty experience, unsubstantial experience, just having more of it, just being able to have more and more and more and more and more emptiness equals just more emptiness. All right, so my theory offers a pretty good explanation for why transsexuality. All right, so as far as I can tell, trans means going through. It's not just flipping to the other side, it's going through the whole thing, transcending it. So, what's happening within human consciousness is that, so this is my triune model, my triune fundamental model of reality, and this is what you are. This is the self. So, what's happened is that the physical realm is basically it's a bias, right? So the bias right now is towards the positive side, the masculine side, the physical side, the senses side, right? So you believe you have, until human consciousness, taken self to be a physical object. But now, because of what happened with when thought entered, is that human consciousness became aware that it wasn't the body. So human consciousness has the inherent intuition that self is not the body. So that's our state, is that we know what we are not, but we don't know what we are. And that's why we're so very confused. So what's happening is that when we realize that we weren't the self, that the body wasn't the self, the part that realized what the self was basically moved on, and we were left behind, not quite grasping what we were yet. So that form of relative existence, I know I exist relative to senses, relative to gravity or whatever forces you want to attribute to the physical realm. When that happened, it switched to I think, therefore I am, right? So if you realize you're not something, but you don't know what you are yet, you still need that relative form of existence to infer your existence, right? You're not experiencing your existence directly. You're inferring it. You're inferring it through a relative existence. I think I'm having thoughts. That means there must be a thinker, basically, right? You're just manufacturing an identity relative to your thoughts. So this all ties in together now. So what happens is, so this is all the thought side, right? This yin, female, and this is part of the bias that I'm talking about, right? That the female side, it's negative, right? Positive, neutral, and negative. But negative has a connotation, doesn't it? A negative connotation, like it is a connotation. Negative is a freaking connotation. It's not just, right? So that's the bias, and that's why everything's been unequal in this realm, right? It's been biased towards male, towards this side, the positive side. So as everything that created, everything that's created swings back and forth, right? So now it's swinging back, and unless, and this is the auspicious time that I'm talking about, unless one realizes what they really are and transcends sex altogether, then you will see what happened is that these trans people, they know they're not the body, right? They know they're not the body. Everyone, every human has this inherent intuition that they're not the body. So if you're male and you think and you know you're not the body, and your identity is so wrapped up in your sexuality, then you'll think that I'm not male. But it's deeper than that. It's not that you're not male, it's that you're not a sex. Right? But we think that there's only two, like that's why, and so many people aren't even identifying as a sex anymore. Which is right, because you're not, but they're still trying to accommodate this belief that they're the body, right? We haven't, those of us who are left here haven't completely let go of this idea that we're the body. So we're very precariously close to having another, going around for another huge iteration here. It'll just be on the negative. So it's moving towards the negative side. The female side is going to be the bias now. You see how it's swinging back. That's why all of this stuff. That's why so many people, this younger generation, don't really care about sex. They don't care about reproducing, because they're all moving into the digital realm. And what's the point in having sex in the digital realm? There's no biological reproduction, or there's no, sex means nothing in a digital realm, right? In a video game. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything. So along with this, and this is why they go crazy, right? Like they identify not with their thoughts, but as their thoughts, as the words. So this is why they're so touchy. They're so, I'm just going to say weak, because they believe that the words are what they are, right? So now this side also includes thoughts, right? So the mind aspect, which is the voice in the head, is becoming more real or substantial or influential than senses, right? Because you call someone a name, a word, whether it begins with an N or whatever, an F, whatever you call someone, if that hurts their feelings, then it's like they think they're being punched in the face or kicked in the balls or something. They're just fucking words, though, right? Like but because no one is teaching people how to find the self in the stillness that's beyond the thoughts. It's just a Ponzi, right? So if your identity is wrapped up in this, if what you think you are as what you exist as is being threatened, well, then your ego is going to freak out. But they're just fucking words, right? So that the whole woke movement goes along with this. See how my model, my theory, explains why this is happening, because the huge cycle that's happening is that everything basically is swinging from a physical male yang bias to accepting that that's the reality, but it isn't, to flipping over to accepting that thoughts are the reality and the words are the reality. They're more substantial than being punched in the face. It's bizarre, right? So the only way, so it's a Ponzi, right? They just keep bouncing back and forth. trying to make one more. So the relative form of existence is they're always bouncing back and forth. They're trying to be relative to each other, right? It's trying to bootstrap itself with just the appearances, with just the illusions, trying to make the illusion real. But you'll never get to reality by just bouncing back and forth here, not ever recognizing this. So again, this is just thought-free awareness. In order for you to not be so pulled and yanked around by words that have no effect on me, someone could come up here and call me a fucking cunt and a bastard and whatever anything that they could possibly do. They could yell in my face, whatever. They're fucking words. Right? Like, you have to toughen up. The entire universe does not adapt to you. That's not how it goes. The entire universe does not adapt to your ego, right? So you're going to try to change. You're trying to get everyone to do exactly what you want, so they don't hurt your little feelings. No, you have to toughen up. You have to recognize that all of this is bullshit. Like, the words have only as much power as you give them. But because of academia, and they all academics basically live this, right? They worship the voice in the head. Academia is the church, the religion that worships the voice in the head. So they go along with it. They're part of it. The academics believe that the thoughts are more important. That's where all of this comes from. So we have to recognize that this is why we're so messed up, is because we're being programmed from age 5. We're being programmed. We're sent to school to be taught the illusion. Like, this is how we're so messed up. How does a species go from living on the earth as a part of it to destroying all life on the planet? Because that's what we're doing. Of course, the bias is to not ever look at that too, right? That's another bias, is that's negative. We don't want to ever talk about death or destruction, right? We don't ever want to talk about that because our bias is to not talk about negative things. They're not to avoid. So I could have death here too, right? I could have my triune model has life in the middle and death and birth as the aspects of it. But death is just as important as life, as birth. Death is not the opposite of life. Life has no opposite. Birth and death are the poles of life. So you cannot not exist. All right, well, I mean, this makes sense to me. Like, the big picture, that's why. Why are so many people going fucking nuts, basically, right? Why? It's insanity, right? You look at some of these people and the way they act, they're literally insane. They're losing their fucking minds over the smallest little bit of adversity. Like, someone calls them a name, one word. Even the N word is just a fucking word. I've seen, like, people get killed for using that one word. It's a word. You put onto it the meaning and the power. You're letting that word push you around. Well, you're weak. We need to toughen up. And that is transcending the voice in the head, not having it have power over you. The voice in the head is Satan. It's Maya. It is exactly the source of our cancerous, bizarre, unnatural behavior. It's this simple. Again, keep saying the same fucking thing over and over. And it's just meditation that's going to save the entire world. But we have academics. And academia is exactly the opposite of meditation, isn't it? Academia is the antithesis of spirituality because academia is just thoughts. All academia does is produce more blah, blah, blah. And they don't realize that it's not leading anywhere. Yeah, it is. It's leading to development of technology, which is killing all life on the planet and has us addicted and has us dependent upon the technology. So the technology is getting us more and more addicted to it, more and more dependent upon it, and simultaneously is killing us, killing the biological body as it works on drawing our consciousness into that. So it's drawing our consciousness into the digital realm, and simultaneously it's killing off the biological part of it. So this is the movement, right? So this is what's happening is this part is now dying, and now it's just going to flip over to this part, which is idealism, right? But that's just as false as this. You see, I don't have to disprove idealism because I just disprove this materialism, and then I just say, well, this is no better. It's exactly just the opposite side of the illusion. So there you go. Again, just explaining everything, but it's not the theory of everything that some people are looking for, right? So if it's not the truth that they're looking for, then it just simply isn't truth, and then they just ignore it because it's not their truth that they're looking for. They're all just trying to reinforce their own belief systems. And it doesn't matter what they say about, oh, you have to be truthful and you have to be honest and you have to be sincere and all this shit. It's fucking bullshit when it gets right down to it. Isn't it? You people who know who I'm talking to. This is not easy. This is not easy. But this is it. I'm showing you the theory, the final theory that explains why humanity is acting the way it is. I would love for John Vervaeke to tell us why all of this is happening, or Bernardo Kastrup, or anyone at all that has one of these theories, of the 220 theories, any one of them, please contact me and tell me why humans are doing what they're doing. How does your model explain why humans are doing what they're doing?